Legends are not born, they are created. Dr. DVR Prakash Rao is a legendary scientist who took a road less traveled to reach the pinnacle of his professional success. His journey from a small village called Angara on the banks of the Godavari River in Andhra Pradesh to the United Nations office in Vienna and CFTC London to back in India with a mission to revolutionize the farm and feed industry.
I got selected into United Nations. I went to United Nations Industrial Development Organization, Vienna. Well, I worked for several countries in the world as an international consultant and expert on animal nutrition and feed technology, and decided to come back to India and settle at the prime of my career when I was 37 years old. And I was looking what I should do. So I could not get a suitable job to my requirements. Jobs were offered to me, but not to my requirements. So I thought, why not I experiment, become an entrepreneur.
Dr. Prakash Rao has developed a process technology of utilizing the industrial solid wastes emanating from meat and other animal-based industries for manufacturing a multi-nutrient feed supplement in poultry and aqua feeds as a concept of utilization of solid waste management. Since its inception, Prakash Foods and Feed Mills is the pioneer in protein technology, catering to the requirements of the poultry industry over the last 35 years. But his journey from a reputed scientist to a celebrated entrepreneur wasn't easy.
When any scientist turned entrepreneur or a professional manager turned entrepreneur, those days the major problem was equity, or what we call startup capital. Today it is not a problem, thanks to Honorable Prime Minister. He has made startup capital so liberal. So today anybody can go and start a company. You can get 1 crore rupees just like that.
Dr. Prakash Rao started his venture as a small-scale industry and graduated on a medium scale with increased investments and turnover. His academic excellence, coupled with his business acumen, has led the company to great heights. Today, the company has a robust infrastructure with the most modern and sophisticated state-of-the-art protein recovery plants in Kanchipuram and Sholavaram in Tamil Nadu. Prakash Foods and Feed Mills were born out of an experiment which paid well.
I became an entrepreneur by accident. As I said, like accidental Prime Minister, I became an accidental businessman, entrepreneur. But having decided to take up the entrepreneurial career, I was tossing between two things. I have developed a technology of manufacturing animal protein feed supplements out of offals of the animal-based industries. But development of technology is only a perception, and commercialization is a reality. So when I worked out the money required to set up the manufacturing unit for that industry, I required 5 crores. And 5 crores was a big money. And nobody is willing to give me finance. When I go to pay banks, they say, you're a scientist. How do you can become an entrepreneur? Go for a good job. Nobody encouraged me to become an entrepreneur. So I decided, okay, let me do it myself. So I took a sick unit and started manufacturing mineral supplements. By 1986, people have accepted that I can survive as an entrepreneur. So by 91, I reached a modest turnover of around 2 crores. Today is modest, but those days it was quite good. Then at least at that stage, I decided I should go back to my dream project. I started setting up a plant in Kanchipuram. My first phase, imported machineries from Denmark, and started manufacturing the product Bio-A Pro.
Bio-A Pro. What does that mean to the layman viewer, and how did you identify that there was even a market gap and a market need for such a product?
You see, having been in the industry for so many years, I have identified that the limiting factor for the growth of poultry industry is availability of quality protein. Poultry feed industry at that time has been using dry fish. Soybean was not available in this country. We were only using groundnut cake, groundnut meal, and soybean was just coming into the country at that time. But they were using mostly dry fish, which is not sterilized, and feeding poultry and getting the output. But those were the days where the hen-house production, a bird used to produce around 180 to 200 eggs, which is now 320 eggs today, because the improvement in the genetics of the bird internationally. So because of these reasons, I found out if I can come out with a substitute for this dry fish, which can be good for a farmer and a feed manufacturer, both in terms of cost-benefit analysis and in terms of productivity and health of the birds. So since I have the technology already, I developed the technology already, I have manufactured this product and made it completely sterile with no microorganisms, no pathogenic microorganisms. And it contains protein, fat, calcium and phosphorus, a multi-nutrient product.
Well, sir, I want to talk about the poultry space domestically now, because I think there are many factors driving its transformation. What do you attribute that to?
You see, basically, middle class purchasing power has increased.
Absolutely.
Due to liberalization of the economy.
Right.
Middle class today prefer to eat more protein food rather than carbohydrates. Number two, people have realized that the unfertilized eggs are vegetarian. In fact, Mahatma Gandhi's quote says, drinking of milk and eating of unfertilized eggs are the same. Both are vegetarianism. That Mahatma Gandhi's quote, not my quote. And second thing, today, the protein malnutrition in this country is very heavy. So the protein malnutrition has to be removed. The protein intake has to go up. Today, almost you require about almost near 1 gram of protein per kg body weight. Otherwise, definitely run through protein malnutrition. That is why you see today, the production of rice and wheat has not been going up last 4 or 5 years. The production of milk, meat, chicken has increased multifold. Animal protein foods such as milk products, eggs, chicken, it is available all over the seasons, all over the years available, and priced very economical. That trade should go to our industry. From a bare million of strength of 50 million birds, broilers, today we are almost around 400 million broilers. We produce 4.3 million tons of chicken per year, and we produce 114 billion eggs per year. We are third largest producer in the world in eggs, and possibly fourth largest producer in broiler, next to US, Brazil, and China.
A few of the macro factors, whether it be scarcity of raw materials, whether it be skyrocketing costs, or whether it be the continuous threat of the spread of disease, all these factors continue to loom large in the poultry space. So how prepared is this industry for possible spikes and surges in demand?
There is not much of governmental support for none of the livestock industries, unlike agriculture. Agriculture is subsidized very heavily. But in dairy and poultry, for example, talk of dairy industry, 8.5 lakh crores turnover in use. The value addition or the gross value contribution of dairy is equal to paddy and rice, wheat put together. Whatever your value addition is done with rice and wheat is equal to one milk. 8.5 lakh crores. And our Honorable Prime Minister was making a statement that which is very true, that dairy farmers are mostly women and marginal people in rural areas. Who are the beneficiaries of dairy are the women and the marginal families, landless laborers. One more aspect I want to tell you here is maybe a little out of the context. If a farmer has 2 animals, there was no suicides when a farmer maintained livestock along with agriculture, there were no suicides. Because animal husbandry, dairy, feeds him all through. 360 days he has milk to get and sell and eat. He can drink for his family. We always say, somebody, can you keep 100 birds and 2 animals? Which is very small in a village concept. He will do very well.
Dr. Prakash Rao has created a huge legacy which requires a similar kind of intelligence, grit and determination to carry forward. And who else rather than his son, Sriram Duvari, could take the company to newer heights?
My father is basically a legend. I can say of what I've seen, he would be, I could say, he's the epitome of success. He has a direction, he has a target, he knows the route how to go there and he reaches his destination. So acquiring that skill from him is a very vital thing for me, and that's what I've been trying to do last few years.
Well, what are ways in which you want to introduce fresh ideas and innovation and set your own path, chart your own course in this company?
Well, I'm very comfortable walking on the path of my father. I would always definitely want to improvise the company to a larger scale, make it more greenfield, taking our market out of boundaries, more towards making this a bigger, huge institution kind of a company.
And how positive are you as far as the growth outlook of the poultry sector, not only in India, but well beyond?
It's a very big market, and sky is the limit here. And with what my father started and his kind of achievements, the kickstart he's given us is so abundant that we can fall and go further and further with more ease than what he did. And the way he's grown, or the way his passion for this industry and the way he's committed to this industry, people see, right? And so today more so I can say his story has become like the fabric of any upcoming entrepreneur or scientist who wants to do well in life.
At the age of 70, Dr. Prakash Rao is a man of extraordinary caliber. He prefers the best things in life not just for himself, but for everyone, be it food, health or nutrition. His knowledge and experience as a scientist often overshadows his entrepreneurial persona. As the president of the National Academy of Veterinary Sciences, he stresses more on research and education, which he says is the backbone of the industry.
The animal husbandry is exhibiting 8.2% annual growth,
Right.
as good as any manufacturing sector, as against 2.5% of agriculture. Around 31% of agriculture GDP is contributed by animal husbandry. Honorable Prime Minister has realized this potential of this animal husbandry and has bifurcated animal husbandry ministry.
Sure.
But what still remains is research and education. I have been thumping from all the platforms that this research and education is the backbone of the growth of any activity. Separate, this has to come out, research and education should come out of ICR under the name, we want an independent council,
Yes.
Indian Council of Veterinary and Fisheries Research, ICVFR. In fact, we had a convocation in the month of June in Nagpur. Honorable Chief of RSS, Mohan Bhagawatji, was the chief guest. I have made an appeal as the president of the academy that the research and education should be brought down as a separate council under the banner ICVFR, under the Ministry of Fisheries and Animal Husbandry. Because there is a potential. Everybody wants to eat eggs. Today our per capita consumption is 90 eggs, as against 180, 200 eggs requirement. So the growth, there's so much of growth potential is there. So with so much of growth potential being there, and consumption of meat is also so low, we need a lot of research backup. And unfortunately, when you are a compost, the attention cannot be great when you are mixed with others. So a stage has come with the rate of growth what we have got, the 8.2% growth rate. And poultry is growing at 15.2% CAGR. And dairy is growing at 6% CAGR. So with this kind of growth, we require definitely ICVFR. That is what we expect Honorable Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji to separate veterinary education research and form a separate council under Ministry of Animal Husbandry and Fisheries.
Sir, today's consumers and today's corporates, for that matter, are becoming increasingly environmentally conscious and socially conscious. So I'd like to know how that sentiment to essentially be eco-friendly is prioritized at your company, and how does it reflect in your product line and the moves that you're making in cross-industry?
We are basically what are we processing? We are processing animal byproducts which are highly biodegradable and creates a very high ecological and animal and health problems. The processing of animal byproducts is a great service to the public health phenomena and ecological and environmental for both, all the three. Now to tell you, we process 40,000 tons of animal offal from the animal-based industries per month. And for this purpose, I have struggled to develop vendors all over the country. Because south of India is not very potential for animal slaughter. It's mostly from UP, MP, Rajasthan, Punjab, Bihar, we get our material. So I developed young boys, gave them the chemicals, gave them the treatment methodology, gave them vehicles. So collect raw material, process the raw material.
Right.
Because our raw material problem is it contains 75% moisture. So we give them methodology to bring it down from 75 to 25%. At 25% moisture level, the bulk is in bulk we carry it to Chennai. And here we process the material. It is animal protein. So that way we are helping the ecology and environment predominantly very high. And we are more a organization converting waste into wealth.
It's very obvious from our conversation that you're as much of an entrepreneur as you are a scientist. How do you juggle those two roles? I mean, are they often at odds with one another? Does the entrepreneur in you versus the scientist in you have competing interests? And what is the end result when it comes to making business decisions?
It's a very, very interesting question. As an entrepreneur, I could not have succeeded enough for a product like this had I not been a scientist. This is not an existing product. This is a new product I have developed. So I have to do experimental studies in the field under the commercial farms and convince people on the relative advantages this product has got, both in terms of reduction of cost and in terms of higher nutritive value and in terms of higher digestibility. The relative advantages to explain to people and providing more number of nutrients, the lower cost. And people would have accepted also
Right.
what I have said had I not been a scientist. But I must confess and tell you, I never left academia. Although I've gone into industry, I've always been in touch with assignments, I've always been going abroad, I've been participating in conferences, I've been presenting papers. That is why probably I'm the first scientist from the industry to become the president of the National Academy of Veterinary Sciences.
India is largely an agrarian economy today, but it is of course fast transforming into a services-driven economy. What are the implications of this transition for an industry like yours?
We are not worried. India has 1.4 billion people who have to consume milk, meat, eggs. And as the country's economic position improves, as the people become more and more, growing incomes, disposable incomes, they want to eat quality food. And the food habits have changed a lot. And today, particularly in the working class where the husband and the wife works, how many people cook the traditional food at home? So they prefer easy foods like chicken, ready to cook chicken. That's why we expect the dressed chicken market is increasing by 20 to 25% per annum. So I think that's no concern for us. We are not really an agrarian economy. We are in the human food chain. Meat, milk, whatever products. If you forget the animals produce, what the end product is meat, milk, eggs and chicken. And these are required every day.
Well, sir, by way of closing comments, you had a legendary career, a 5-decade career, in the feed supplement space. I'd love to understand your leadership philosophy, mantras that you live your life by, and what are some non-negotiables in your view when it comes to conducting business?
My first mantra is creativity and innovation. Because qualified people like us should only go for high-tech industries. We should not compete with general people. looking into general commodities, number one. Number two, today, fortunately, lot of startup capital, thanks again for Prime Minister who has done a fantastic job. Lot of startup capital funds are available, but you should have the viability of the project. The project must, before you think of a project, it should be viable. Then you should have the skills, that is management skills, marketing skills, financial skills. Finance management is a very, very important aspect of it.
And sir, any last words for our viewers that may be watching, especially young, budding entrepreneurs who are looking at your career with deep admiration?
Hard work, sincerity of purpose. I'm sure with little of their intelligence, they should do well. What I always tell I address my veterinary universities. I tell our veterinary doctors, say veterinary doctors, they should have a job, government gazetted job the moment you pass out of the college. So I tell people, don't look for jobs.
Create one.
Create one. Be a job giver rather than a job taker.
Sir, thank you so much for taking the time to speak with us. We wish you and the larger Prakash Foods and Feed Mills team all the continued success.
Thank you very much. I'm very happy about the meeting. Thank you.
Our chairman, Dr. DVR Prakash Rao, is a highly qualified scientist and is a very well respected in the veterinary scientific community in the country. He is a very kind-hearted person and helps all the staff in any problem they have.
The incredible entrepreneurial journey of Dr. DVR Prakash Rao has resulted in creating a mega infrastructure which not only ensures healthy consumption but also cares for nature and the environment. He has created a legacy that his son Sriram has planned to take to newer heights. The footprints that Dr. Prakash Rao has created on the sands of time will always inspire new-gen entrepreneurs and guide them to achieve what is perceived as unachievable.